Well, good morning, everyone. It's very nice to see a full crowd, a nice crowd on a Friday morning, frankly. I am John Mann, Director of Education for Lakeside. And for today's session, Dr. Jay Lanier will be exploring the powerful role of music in mapping escape routes to freedom from slavery. And this presentation goes beyond traditional music history, offering a rare look at the intelligence and strategy embedded within the genre, insights that remain largely unknown to the general public. I always ask if you would please mute your cell phone ringers if you haven't already, and help me in welcoming Dr. Jay Lanier to Orchestra Hall.
Happy Juneteenth Day. I didn't plan this. I thought of this as I was sitting here at the piano. But I think this is appropriate. Those of you who know the Black National Anthem, sing it. Thank you. Thank you. It is indeed a pleasure for me to return to Lakeside, Chautauqua. I was last here in 2011, and three guesses what my subject might have been in 2011. It was how the spirituals influenced the Harlem Renaissance. Yes. And that theme is very important even to today's lecture. I call my presentations informances, information and performance. Don't you think that should be a word? We must somehow get to the people who make the dictionaries and say, this has to come. And I thank you all so much for coming to attending such an important presentation. We are in very troubled times. And to think that there is the necessity to even have to celebrate freedom. That should be natural. You know, we should celebrate being alive every day and being together. I have been very impressed with the ancient African sacred philosophy, that philosophy that is behind Nelson Mandela and Archbishop Desmond Tutu. And that philosophy is Ubuntu. And Ubuntu philosophy, African philosophies are different than European philosophies. The Stoics and the German philosophers are marvelous, but they talk about how we could be. The African philosophers say how we could be together. It's active, it's different. And I've been just overwhelmed in the past few months with the simplicity of the words of Ubuntu. Simply means, I am because you are. Isn't that wonderful? Isn't that beautiful? Yeah. I am because you are. You are because I am. And the interconnectedness of us, that fiber that weaves us together, that we are one. And there's no reason in the world for us to fight and have wars. There is no justifiable war. And in the past 3 years, I've become a contemplative to think through the perils of being a human being at this time. And I said, I must do something that will help. That will help to interfere with a playground fight in Iran. Because it's just as silly to me as children fighting on the playground and you say, stop. Don't you know right from wrong? Treat your people with respect and dignity. The simplicity of do unto others. Do you know that runs through every religion and every philosophy? Every single one. Why is that so hard? Why is that so hard? I confess, since I've been here at Lakeside Chautauqua, I have run amok. I can't stop loving folks. I've just been hugging and kissing and just carrying on. I don't know what's happened. And it won't stop. I thought, well, perhaps today is my performance day. I'm sure that that won't be raging in my system. Oh, no. Woke up with a rage. Like, bring it on. Bring it on. Yes. This is a piece that I play to begin my thoughts. And as I said, Lift Every Voice was an addition. But this is the piece that I play. may the kindness, the kindest spirit be with us. As I'm bringing it in, I'm ordering us to be together as a family. And that's what this is about. Some of you probably wonder how it is that I am an authority on this music. What music am I talking about? It's the music that helped remove this awful thing called slavery. Now that has to be powerful music, isn't that right? You know, and we have to admit that we were wrong. We were wrong to have ever had that happen. And you can go back to other civilizations, and the keeping of human beings is crazy, absolutely crazy. They call that music in this country of chattel slavery spirituals. It's a very interesting word. Have you ever thought why they were called spirituals? I bet you can give 2 seconds worth of why it's called spirituals. Musicologists don't know. Ethnomusicologists don't know. Historical musicologists don't know. I think it's a tragedy. Something taken for granted and taught wrong because they didn't have enough sense to find out why they did these things, why they called it that. Well, they usually tell you to look at some chapter in the Bible. Why would they say that? Think about it. Put yourselves in the place of these people who were stolen from where? What continent? You know that. Say it again. Because that's as loud as you're ever going to hear talked about. In your educational systems, they don't even talk about that continent. You don't know one thing about it except the pictures of little African children, half naked, with flies. You think that they live in huts? You don't know a single city? Bet you, if I could find in this audience a person who could name a country and 5 cities, one country and 5 cities. Yet you can tell me all about Europe. You can tell me about the food they eat, what goes with what. But you don't realize that those ingredients came from Africa. And that the major universities were a place that comes from a place that we make jokes about. And I implore you that you, my family today, will never, ever make a joke about Timbuktu. Do you hear me? Timbuktu was the seat of intellectual pursuits, information. Why? Then you turn it around and say, oh, I'll kick you to Timbuktu. Well, kick me to Timbuktu. It'll be a free trip to the best place on earth. Let me look. Let me know. But you're not going to make a joke about that. Do I see your hands? Nobody in here is ever going to make a joke about it. Ever again. And you will correct people who do. Do you know where it is on the continent of Africa? Can you find it on a map? Isn't that sad? Most people could not. Have you heard of Mali? Then you're cooking. You're cooking. These people who came over were a group of individuals who were having a fine life in their towns, in their villages, and with their spirituality, similar to Ubuntu. I didn't say religion. I said spirituality. There is quite a difference. When they finally made it to here, they couldn't communicate with each other. They spoke many languages. And African languages are very much more sophisticated than European Romance languages and English. But when you just put people together in such a horrendous manner, and then you bring them to a place where the people who are overseeing and being just awful speak a language that you don't know either. And their way of speaking the language is underneath the educated people. So you're hearing a strange version of English even. Have you ever thought what it must have been like? Get out. What does that mean? What? Go to the barn. And then you get beaten. And then you say, go to the barn. I don't know what that means, but you shove me in this direction. Next time I hear go to the barn, I'm going to run in that direction. That's the learning process. That's the intellect taking hold. Okay. Next time, hey, go to the barn. Gone. Now I know something. But it was a problem because they couldn't communicate with each other. So what they did was make a compilation of the various languages. This is the reveal that I'm giving to you all today. How did they do this? Because they were smart, for one thing. They were really brilliant, looked upon as nothing, and they were really something. So when they got together, and they weren't allowed to be together, they weren't allowed to assemble. So, but when they did sneak a peek at each other, they said, we have got to make a language so that we can communicate. and they put the various sounds of the various African languages and made a new one. When I realized that, I was studying African linguistics. Not that I was going to learn how to speak the languages, but I wanted to know how they were put together. And if my theory was right, that could be done with the basics of the African tonal languages. And indeed, they could, and they did. They did. What they did was incredible. And I say it's incredible because that language then was all over the South. Not just like Geechee Gullah languages, which is African languages mixed with English. That was regional. But from all those people from Mississippi, Alabama, and Georgia, and to have a new language, learning how to read and hear English at the same time, you have to be brilliant. How many of you would like to take an exam in the university that way and make a language? This will get you your doctorate. Duh, I'm out, Yeah, I think it's magnificent. So we knew that those languages were tonal. We knew that the messages from that music called spirituals had secrets hidden within them. But you didn't know how to translate. So they're right in your face telling you something, and you don't know it. I just love it. That's a beautiful piece, isn't it? It's an exquisite art song. What was the name of it? Steal Away. What does it mean? Don't all speak at once. Steal away, as I tell my students at the university, stealing away. I said, stealing is, I can ease on down the road. You're getting the heck out. So the words say, steal away. This is my arrangement. I have an anthology of spirituals for the piano, because I want you to hear the glory of the music, okay? Why I say it's art music, high art music. That said it, didn't it? You didn't expect the chording, the way I put it together. Same way Brahms put his music together, German leader. It's exactly the same way. But now back to Steal Away Home. What is that talking about? Don't be afraid to say. Say it loud. Escaping. Mm-hmm. Excuse me? In the 1600s and 1700s, there were no railroads. I'm talking about what the spirituals was about. I'm talking about steal away. Steal away home. Steal away to Jesus. Hello? See, that's exactly what I wanted you to say. Because that's exactly what's in the books, and that's exactly wrong. They were not talking about that at all. Not even slightly. This was talking about when we're going to steal away. My Lord, he calls me by the thunder. The trumpet sounds within my soul. I ain't got long to stay here. Let me tell you folks, they didn't want to die. How dumb is that? Who here wants to die? Why do you think those people would want to die and feed them some kind of malarkey about dying? No, stealing away, slipping out to Jesus. And guess what Jesus was? Notice I said what? Not who. Because they named the boat that they had built little by little as they were out in the fields, and then some would sneak off and build some of the, come back. Little by, it took them a long time. Africans were some of the best boat builders ever. So you don't mess around with them. Steal away. When it thunders, my Lord, he calls me by the thunder, that's the time. And the boat's name was Jesus. The boat's name was Jesus. Not in the name of Jesus, but let's go to Jesus. When I first heard that, I just burst out and started laughing, because that was absolutely wonderful. Why did I laugh? It's because they were being force-fed Christianity. The worst part of Christianity. They took those books of the Bible, and those that said, obey your master, and they were the master. See, it didn't have anything to do with Christianity. It had to do with them and their power. And to give it back to them and escape. My Lord, this part is so exciting. Trumpet sounds. I mean, they got poetic. The trumpet sounds within my soul. I ain't got long to stay here, folks. I'm getting out. They were excited. I'm excited for them because I put myself with them when I was writing my opera. My opera is a grand opera about escaping by way of the Underground Railroad. So I went through, I put on their shoes. I struggled through mud and got cut by bushes and ran into trees. And I cried and I went, where am I? And then I wrote an aria, a tenor aria, saying just that. The name of the aria is Where Am I? Because he was escaping. I got all of what I needed for being there with them. My opera set in 1851. Starts at Kingsport, Tennessee. I don't know if any of you know where that is, but it's near the border of Tennessee and Kentucky, and a little bit of Virginia scoots out there. And I made an effort to find out what it was like in 1851, what it looked like, what kind of people were around there. Wow, it was nothing but trees and really, really tough life. I would not want to walk in front of Orchestra Hall with as little that they had with them, and could go there. And yeah, I ain't got long to stay here. Isn't what I wrote, but I wrote some really poignant music that sounds like the spirituals. I said, I can write a grand opera that will pay tribute and honor to the great music, which became, guess what that music became? The American sound. That was the American sound. Not the cowboy music, not New York music. The spirituals became the sound. I want to prove a point with a piece that was written in the 1600s by a European composer named Henry Purcell, or those that don't know music pronounce his name Purcell, but it's actually pronounced Purcell. And I'm sure I have some hands that know Henry Purcell. Yeah, absolutely, right. And now I want to get hands from a great American composer that wrote a piece that sounds so much like Henry Purcell until I'm not going to tell you his name, until you hear it. I am going to put the two pieces together. Henry Purcell wrote an opera, Dido and Aeneas. You say, what in the heck does this have to do with spiritual? You'll find out. And the first part of it, but see, I'm proving the point about the artistic level of music. That's why I'm doing this. Okay, that's how it starts. It's this great aria, When I Am Laid in Earth, where Dido is saying that she's going to kill herself because she's in love with Aeneas. Now, that's dumb in the first place. And every time I've sung that or I've conducted the opera and said, why would anybody do that? Different time frame. But the piece is gorgeous. One of the prettiest pieces of the whole Baroque period. And she cries, remember me. She cries again. But oh, and then she wailed high. Isn't that a beautiful piece? Oh my goodness. It's hard for me not to weep. Isn't that a pretty piece? It could have been written by Purcell, but guess what? That's Stevie Wonder. That's They Won't Go When I Go. The same feeling at all. And I'm going to combine them. Don't know where one ends and the other one begins, because they are all on the same theme. That heaviness that Stevie got. This came out in I think 1974, as opposed to the 1600s, 1700s of Purcell. The same feeling That's what people miss with spiritual. You think it's got to be some kind of other way. It can't be that high art because of his skin color. Stevie Wonder was a genius, you know? And I put a spin on it, on his music, so that when I was singing, I'm too old to sing now, and sang since I was 3 years old, and finally, voice was gone, you know? But my fingers aren't. So I tell the piano it has to sing. Isn't that something? Just a feeling. Both of them sound like a spiritual. Percival didn't know he wrote a spiritual. Yeah. How many of you know Antonin Dvorak? I didn't see you over here. You all over here know Antonin Dvorak? Yeah. Quite a composer, right? Czechoslovakian composer. Came to the United States. Heard the field music that we call spirituals. And he got together with Henry Thacker Burleigh, H.T. Burleigh. And he heard Burleigh sing. Henry Thacker Burleigh was born in Erie, Pennsylvania, which is not that far from here, across the border of Ohio to Pennsylvania. He was a crackerjack singer, composer. And he was the first person to put those pieces in to be solo pieces of music, just like Brahms did. Do you realize that you hear this all the time? That is an art song. That is a Brahms lieder. People took it because it's a lullaby and made it a children's song. It is not a children's song. It is a lieder about a lullaby. And we just said, okay, we're just going to make it this. The nerve. So you know if they'll do it to a European composer, we don't even have a chance. We'll just steal it and make it what we want to make it. Hymn writers were the biggest thieves on the face of the earth. Out and out thieves. See, I have to tell you this because you'll never put this together. You get your hymn books out. I got a big collection of hymns. And the piece is totally different. Deine Zauber binden wieder, was please you. It has nothing to do with religion. That was Beethoven. The Ode to Joy of his Ninth Symphony had zero to do with what this guy put and made a hymn out of it. thievery. And when they don't want to acknowledge what they're doing, they will put at the top, traditional. I used to ask my mother, traditional what? What in the world does that mean? Look at your hymn books, full of stuff that's not hymns. I'm bringing this out because they stole spirituals and made hymns out of them. So I thought I'd do it the European way first, so that you'll say, oh, but then, she just complaining. Ah, they did it to you too. Mm-hmm. But I'm sure some of you say, Deine Zauber binden wieder, was die Mode stringet. Right? I sang with the Cleveland Orchestra Chorus under Robert Shaw himself. Robert Shaw and I were friends. I'm from the 60s, folks. I've got a lot of years behind me with the greatest musicians in the world. Robert Shaw looked at music in a different way. Some of you musicians, tell me what this is. It's rock and roll. That's Mozart. From the Mozart record. Quam olim abre. Pro mi si sti. Only break. Oh, me see Steve. Didn't know Mozart wrote rock and roll, did you? You didn't know that he wrote rock and roll, did you? Did you? How many of you knew Mozart wrote rock and roll? Do you know this is right? That's what's going on in the orchestra. Going down the scale. Robert Shaw had us in the rehearsal room of the great hall in Cleveland, one of the finest concert halls on the planet. Its name has changed from Severance Hall to Severance Music Center, the home of the great Cleveland Orchestra and the Cleveland Orchestra Chorus. And when we were working on the Mozart Requiem, in the rehearsal hall, he said, now, I don't know if you know this, but the Cleveland Orchestra Chorus, under him, had to memorize all the music we sang. We didn't stand there with music because Robert Shaw said the music should come from within. And he taught it that way. And we learned it that way. And he said, oh, now we're going to work on Quam olim abre. He said, push the chairs back. I don't know what you do what Robert Shaw says. So we push the chairs back. And he says, now we're going to sing Quam olim abre. You're going to stand up and you're going to dance. Dance. So the accompanist, which was his lady, has been his sidekick for his length in the Cleveland Orchestra. And she started that. And people were boogie king and boogie king, whatever dance was popular at that time. know white folks to move that much. But it was Robert Shaw was leading them so they could dance, you know. Oh my goodness gracious. I said, look at them doing the frug. Get down, folks. I didn't know you had, mercy me. And it hit me that music was, the reason you don't hear that is because it's played with the orchestra at a slower tempo. Doesn't sound like rock and roll that way, but it is. And it's all in where you put the emphasis. The same notes. But if I go, or I go, da, 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 da. I lived in Austria and sang in Austria. All the greats. But I sang, they won't go where I go, in Austria. And, you know, I told them who the composer was. I said, it's a great American composer. His name is Steve Lander Morris. And they whispered amongst themselves and said, I don't know this composer. Did you study with him, about him in your music class? I don't know. I've never heard of him. And then when it was finished and I had just sung the heck out of it, I said, oh, by the way, you know this composer by the name Stevie Wonder. And I had to get the ambulance for some of them, you know? So it's attitudes about music. I have rebranded the music of the spirituals as cultural art songs of liberation and destiny. Do you like that? That's really accurate, isn't it? When they were doing something, they wanted to get out. But I'm telling you, you all sing in your churches, let us break bread together. You know that ain't I'm going to use bad English. That ain't about what you think it is. It ain't got nothing to do with what you think it is. Now you all looking at me with the same look like, what you talking about? What you talking about, Willis? I'm saying that let us break bread together has nothing to do with what you think it is. It is an African tradition. You know, I'm a church organist and choir director and soloist, and every time I go and ask the pastors, what does this mean? When I fall on my knees with my face to the rising sun, oh Lord, have mercy on me. Not one of you knows what that's talking about. You churchgoers. And you all got the same look. You should see the resemblance from here. It's like, oh, some of these, now she's just gone too far. You know, who does she think she is? I'm just a disseminator of information. Okay? Let us fall out on our knees. Let us break bread together. Had to do with the African tradition of falling on their knees to not be seen or heard that easily because they were talking about escaping. Now, you had no idea that let us break bread together had anything to do with escaping, and it has all to do with escaping. When I fall on my knees with my face to the rising sun, that was an African tradition of telling you what time we were getting together to actually formulate the escape. We had to do it so undercover. Now, don't you think that is super brilliant? Has fooled you? The look on your faces, oh, I wish the camera was here so that you could see yourselves. Like, when I fall on my knees with the face to the rising sun, oh Lord, have mercy on me, meaning have mercy on the trip that we are about to take, because we are getting the heck out of here. Let us nothing. They didn't even know what communion was. They added drink wine together after the Civil War. They had hijacked, let us break bread together, and then they added, because they were pushing Christianity. So they're going to push that on you, make you feel that it's all about what it ain't. And boy, was that successful? 100%. Boy, they just, and they see not a one of you applauding, because you feel like kind of stupid, don't you? Like you've been had. You have been had. Now it makes sense, doesn't it? When I fall on my knees, I'm going to get down here and I'm going to talk, because my mother used to tell me if my mother was alive, she would turn 118 on August 24. And my father would turn 115. So the story she told me, I came along so late, you know. I got stories from my family, I'm Native American. My bloodline does not go to Africa. Who would have thought it? My bloodline goes to Wales and Scotland. And my name, Lanier, I may be related to Sidney and Nicholas Lanier of France and England. And when I found that out, I was like, I'm not an African American? No. Oh, am I anything? That was a shock, you know, because we assume when we look at a person, we make assumptions, don't we? Because you look at me and you say, I'm an African American. Not that I'm ashamed of it, or not that I didn't want to say that. But I said, if I say it to my audience, I think that they will pat me on the head and say it's okay. It's all right if you're a relative of, you heard of Cheddar Man in England? When they were going down deep to see where Cheddar Man, why was all of the people in Europe were dark-skinned? I mean dark-skinned people. There were no white people, okay? Did you know that? They didn't even exist. It took thousands of years for you all to turn white. Thousands of years. So now when you say European, watch out. Cheddar Man, dark skin with blue eyes. I went for every corner of the world to find out who I was and why we are so stupid in this world to worry about all that. So what? You know, but that is quite a discovery, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Makes you look at people a little different. Maybe you all will get the love bug too. Start hugging and kissing on folks just because they're there. My mother used to we go to the doctor. We walk into the doctor's office. My mother, hello, how are you? How are you? Everybody. I said, Mama, do you have to speak to everybody? She says, I speak to everybody because everybody is here. And we are human beings, and we all should respect each other. And I respect these people who have been waiting for this doctor. And I said, so see, I came by my craziness honestly. hear from my opera, and I'm going to stop it because when I wrote this, I was living on Catawba Island, down the road. And I was finishing this grand opera. And at the time when I wrote this, it's about where they reached Sandusky. Sandusky, Ohio, was an abolitionist town. They hated slavery. Naomi Twine gave a tour of the safe houses in Sandusky, Ohio. I didn't know that the Underground Railroad was so important right here where we are. Isn't that appropriate for today? I took that tour. And so when I was writing the opera, I don't know any of you are from Sandusky, but there's the artwork of the boy and girl running to the coast to catch the boat to freedom in Canada. Okay. So Kelly's Island, Putin Bay, the caves, they were hiding right around here. Right around here. And I say to this performance, this informance, that I hope the spirit of some of them are with us in here, because I'm celebrating them. They paved the way to have this day. Isn't that something? I hope that if you feel a warmth, it's not me hugging you yet. It's them saying, thank you. Thank you for making us real. Thank you so much. They're real to me. And I wrote that my character, she was looking for her sister who had been banished. And they took out and left. And they were at Sandusky. And she says, I woke up this morning with Sadie on my mind. I woke up this morning with glory on my mind. I woke up this morning with Sadie on my mind. And she says, it must be that time. And when I said, what kind of boats did they escape on? It was something. I was playing piano on Kelly's Island. So I was going across here every weekend. And I said, wonder what it was like. The wonderful lighthouse in Marblehead was part of the lighting. Isn't that something? Right here. I took my friends. My friends that brought me in. I live I exist in the Dayton area now. And I want them to stand. Because I call them M and D. Mother and daughter. Stand up, darlings. Stand up. Because I got here because of them. I got here because of them. Such wonderful people to put up with me. But, we saw the lighthouse yesterday. I was giving a tour, so it's really fresh on their minds. But isn't that something? When I said I woke up this morning, now I'll play it all the way through and then not stop, okay? Then she cries out, oh! So the soprano has to go up on this. It's a real aria. it softly. Oh, because she knows the journey's not finished. They have not found her sister. Okay, so she knows she's going to get on this boat. And you know what the boat looked like? A flat boat. I looked up boats in that time period. They were flat boats, and they had a horse on each side. And the horse, like the treadmill, and made the what's that on the back of the boats? The big paddle. Yes, that's what propelled the boat. So it made this aria even. Oh my goodness! When she says, "Oh," I saw it, and I said, and the rest of them they was just sitting on the flat as the boat moved along because of these horses. Now that is horsepower. I never knew that there were boats like that. Doing the research for this opera was so enlightening. You know, I'd be so spiritually full until I didn't even want dessert. You know? But it's a beautiful, I'm going to finish it. Now, on the orchestral part, I made a trumpet come in because the trumpet's like on the still away. So I play, and the trumpet, it's just like calling. Come on, here we go. I don't went, Lord, have mercy. You know I have church when I'm composing. You know, I feel that spirit, and I went, dum, 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 da, 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 yes, because she's going. And they caught that boat, and I have it that a storyteller is like the evangelist when I do Highway to Canaan as an operatorio, another word that could be. Because the grandeur of the orchestral the orchestra is a character. It tells you what's happening. And dum dum bum ba dum, yeah, dum bum bum ba dum, and then with all my mind, she hits that A flat and holds it, and then she says, "It must be, it must be, it must be that time." And then the trumpet comes in here. Come on. Buried within all of that texture, you know. And yeah, I had to stop. Well, sometimes I just couldn't compose anymore because I had reached some kind of zenith for the day, you know. And I said, I think I have to go to bed. And you know, I haven't eaten. I did remember to go to the bathroom, but that's about it. It's a glorious piece, isn't it? Yeah. I'm going to play the ending of the opera. Talk about this. They reach, they find her, and they are headed towards, in Canada, Owen Sound, Ontario, Canada. That, my friends, was the end of the Underground Railroad. I hadn't met two people, one person that ever heard of Owen Sound, Ontario, Canada. They think the end of the line was maybe across at Buxton. My opera tells you all you need to know. And this is as far as you go. In kind of praise. I'm like, yeah. Oh, Lord have mercy. I orchestrated it first. So I heard all this orchestral color coming on, and stand up, Geraldine. Stand up, please. Geraldine was in my productions. You understand me? Geraldine knew what I wrote about. She knew from the bottom of her heart. Geraldine explains it to me, and she starts crying, and I start crying. She said, Dr. Lada, how could you write music like that? How do you do this? She said it on the phone just the other day. She still holds this in her heart. Do you? No, it's not. The universe gave me this. And when she sings, I have the orchestra plays it first, that motif. And then they sing it. We've traveled many, many, many miles. This is as far, you can sing, this is as far as we go. And then the soprano, oh, in sound. I let them know where it is. It's oh in sound. Oh in sound. Then the entire cast sings. We're just moments away from the end. This is as far as we, and then the timpani. They found her. We found each other. And I had to play that for you because it's Juneteenth. It's right on target, you know. I don't know if I think he had to leave, but I asked the president, CEO of Lakeside Chautauqua to make a statement. He couldn't be here for it all. I'm going to just take his place because I met with him yesterday. And I asked him this: would you be agreeable to make a statement on behalf of this great place?
Oh,
this is
Dr.
a great
J.
Right.
Dr. J.
Yeah.
Charles was here, but unfortunately
yes.
had to go.
I know, and I just said that. He probably had to go. But I'm going to...
But unfortunately, we have to go to...
Okay, this is it. This is the end.
Yep, we have another program coming in.
This is the end. That's fine. This is all I wanted, is to make a statement from here that Lakeside Chautauqua, on the record, is apologizing for slavery. That's all. That's all. And he had to go, but it was in his heart, you know. And I think that that's a marvelous thing and a way to end on a high note on behalf of him, you know. When you've come to the very end, don't give up, because you may win. Those are my words. Do not give up. When you come through, don't give up, because you your eyes on the prize. Hold on. If you will stand and hold hands and leave with this in mind. All the words are hold hands up high. Be my family when okay? Now, when you think you've come to the end, don't give up, cause you will win. Okay, those are the words. As simple as all. Okay, I put it in the key that you all can sing it. Okay, when you think you've come to the end, don't give up, cause you will win. Keep your eyes on the prize. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Keep your eyes on the prize. Hold on. One more time, the chorus. Hold on. Hold on. Keep your eyes on the prize. Hold on. Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you all so much.